Vince Clortho, Keymaster of Gozer. Is that who you want to be this Halloween? Well, stay tuned. We're going to show you how to build one of these.
So the next step is to get the ribbon cable done. There are 21 wires here. The original probably had 24, but my guess is that they cut 3 of them off right here from the ribbon cable. Much easier to put it together this way. I don't know what kind of ribbon cable they used, but it was really thick. And I've never seen ribbon cable any thicker than this, like a 24 gauge one. So the 21 is a pretty good substitute. In the movie, they've got what appears to be tie wraps holding it together every few inches. And it looks very similar to what this will look like when it's on. And this is, for lack of a better term, it's a wire comb. And what it'll do is bunch the wires together so they look like a ribbon cable. The first 3, brown, red, orange. Oh, look. Brown, red, orange. So, we put in the brown. Then we put in the red. Then we put in the orange. And keep going like that. Now, there's a few things about this. The nice part is you can adjust it later, but try and make it so that you're not getting them tangled up at the beginning here. That's one of the issues that I've had in the past, is that they'll tangle up here if you don't leave this tie wrap really loose. So we'll start off, get this one a little closer. See, they're already getting a little ornery. There we go. Now the first one's the hardest one to put in. After that, they only get a little bit harder. I'm kidding. A little bit easier, actually. It's not that bad. But this tangled mess here, sometimes it can be a little frustrating to get these things. There we go. A little bit better. Actually, you know what? I'm going to move the orange wire. I'm going to take it right out and put it in again underneath so that it's not so tangled. And you'll find you're probably going to be playing with this a little bit on the first one, but once you got the first one done, it'll be a lot easier. So, there we go. So we can get it all nice and close. We got brown, red, orange. What's next? Yellow, green.
All right, let's pick a yellow wire that we can get in there. Yellow, right here. The other wire's down in here. Very nice. Come on. Alright, yellow. And green. Might get a phone, she say green, green. I pink it up and say yellow. Alright, green. And blue. Now, blue is right here, so that's good. And one of the other things is that the second group of wires, we're going to do them exactly the same, which some people would say is backwards, but we'll do them exactly the same colors on the under one. But we're going to have to use an extra yellow, and I believe there's a color missing, because there's only one violet in the whole thing. So that's the one that will be missing. Alright, so we're at, blue and violet. How about that? The only violet here. Alright. So I'm doing this one in regular speed, and then I'll speed it up once we get to the others. So then slate, or gray, depending on your preference as to what you like to call it. Alright. Oh, get that out of the way. Alright. Now don't pull these too hard, because you do want some slack up here, and if you see something that's pulled a little hard, just pull it back right away. Yeah, you can see it's starting to take shape. Just like this guy. Very similar. Alright, so gray, keeping this close by so I can remember what they are. White and black. Gray, white. And the first one takes a bit of time, but, you know, the others are much easier. You can do 2 or 3 wires at a time, putting them through. And white, and we'll keep this a little slack. White and brick. Brick is, yeah, very nice. Alright. Oh, a little stuck there. Alrighty. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, one more. And then we go brown again? No, we don't. We're going to go black again. That's what we're going to do. The reason for that, we got 3 black wires, so we're going to double them up at the end. Alright. Oh, and the orange one's in the way, so I can pull that out. Okie dokie. Look at that. So our first layer is done. And it actually looks pretty good. Looks like a ribbon cable. Alright, now we're going to go underneath and do the others. Nice part about this is I don't have to look at the other stuff, I can just go off of what's here. So, we have brown, so make sure it's unencumbered, brown, and then red, nicely untangled. Brown and red, I'll just put the ends together here, and put them through. Oops, maybe not backwards. Maybe I'll not put the ends together and just do them one at a time like a smart person would. Alright, brown, red. Okay, that wasn't a good idea. Alright. What I found on some others, when this was tight, oh, what a nightmare it was to try and get these things done. Brown, red, orange, good. And orange and yellow are the two that we have extras of, so we'll be sticking those somewhere. Can't remember exactly where yet, but no, we'll get there soon. Orange. Yellow. And the nice part about matching these, when you look at it from this side or that side, it basically looks like the same ribbon cable. So just a nicer look, I find. After yellow, it's green. I already told you about my telephone. Green, alright. After green, we go. Oh, wow, did I get that right? Yeah, yellow, green, and, wow, come on, Joe. That's like a blue. Blue is here. Very nice blue. There we go. Make sure I didn't pull that too hard. I think I did. Yeah, well, there we go. Pull it back a bit. Alright, after blue would be purple or violet. And we got next to orange. Do you want to put orange there? Yeah, I'll put orange there. So we'll put orange there. There we go. Oh, I was almost out of the screen there. Sorry, folks. Alright, so blue, violet, slate, or gray. It's almost a Christopher Walken. Or gray, and it's really great that we put the wires in the helmet. Okay, that wouldn't work very well. Let's get this right. There we go. So white. And what is left? It's just the black and the yellow. I'm going to put the yellow first and then the black. Because I want the outside to look symmetrical with the two black ones on the outside. Right. There we are. Alright, so it doesn't look great yet, but it will. So, there's the starting point. We've got two things that sort of look like ribbon cables, and what we're going to do now is add the other 7, and then at the end of putting those 7 on, the connector's here somewhere. We'll put the connector on the end as well. Alright, stand by, let's watch it. Better speed.
Well, after examining the movie a few more times and taking a look at some photos, there's a few things that I moved around a bit and made some adjustments by pulling in and pushing and prodding through some of these. And it all worked out. They still look fairly ribbon cable-like. And now it looks very much like the film. There's a few things that are really obvious. One of them is this gray wire that was always was hanging down when he was going to the coffee machine. One of the other ones, you always see this large red wire out the top, and the orange ones in the movie you can sometimes mistake them for red, but I'm sure they're orange. There's way more red than orange in here, and I know the ribbon cable has both. So, we've got a pretty good look as to what this looks like. My promise was, what's next? Let's put the connector on this. You see they're kind of different lengths. So let's pick the shortest one. What we're going to do is kind of comb them. Shortest one for me, actually, wow, big difference in them, but that's because some of these are going to take a slightly different path, but we've got this combed pretty good for the rest of it. We'll get this done, and then, if I can find my cutters, we're going to cut them close to the shortest one. Shortest one is right here for me, so I'm going to start cutting close as I can anyway. Not a big deal if they're not exact, just don't make them shorter than that. Grab a couple at a time. if you make them shorter, you'll be cutting them again. That's all. You'll be cutting all of them again. That's my point. Woohoo! Now, it's the fun part where near completion. Really enjoy the completion. Alright, now we've got really close. Alright, so they're all cut. And what I didn't mention was that it's also time to tighten up this tie wrap. So, oh boy, I really tightened it on there. And I jammed this one through so that the big square end is close. I'm trying to get a better view. So the big square end where the tie wrap goes through is close to this. So thankfully nylon is pretty slippery. And then when you do that, you can cinch it up. There we go. Now it's nice and tight. And again, flush cut. Best way to make sure it's not sharp and doesn't cut you then. Alright, now we've got that done. Time for the connector. So there was no connector in the film. It was a lot longer. The cable was a lot longer. But it's worth putting something on there that looks good. And I think this one, it's got a connector look to it. And oddly enough, it's split so that when we put the 1/2 inch 632 screw through it with the holes that are made to fit the nuts, it'll squeeze all the wires together. So there's no soldering. There's, you can have various lengths off by probably 1/4 inch, and it's not going to matter. The only thing that you do is insert them into here the same way you inserted them into these. So let's get started. And this will be the last, well, I shouldn't say the last. There's always more, isn't there? We still got the chin strap to put on, but that's not a hard one. So I'm trying to separate the top from the bottom here. First things first. Sometimes it's easier to use the tool in my fingers. My fat fingers. There we go. And I missed one. I missed 2 actually. There we go. Alright, so I've got them separated. Got to keep them separated. Okay. And get those as straight as you can. And if you make a mistake or you've got one that's in the wrong place, pull it back and re-thread it. It'll be fine. It's not that big a deal. So I'm going to stick them in there. Hopefully I can actually get these in at the same time. Unlike the others, unlike the little combs, this hopefully is a little more forgiving. There we go. I'm getting most of them in. One side. Alright. So I'm going to shove them in as far as they'll go to start. It doesn't look too bad. Of course, I put them in the wrong side. Of course I did. So I put them in the bottom when it should have been the top. I'll just do that again. Alright, so I'll pull them out nice and slow. Maybe I can put them in for this one nice and slow. Nope, apparently not. Okay, I've got a few in. Make sure these are all in the right order. As I said, if they're not in the right order when you put them in, you just pull it out and put it back in. Alright, so now they're all, there we go. Now they're all in. Oh yes. Shoved in as far as they'll go. In the correct side, so that we can put the other side in. Alright. I'm not going to be putting these in at with the same number at the same time. I'll just put a couple in at a time. There's the first three. Next three. How about that? tight. See if you can squeeze it in there. There we go. And there's always a little bit of adjustment afterwards. Trying to cheat for the camera here as much as I can. Alright, so red and brown. Red and brown. Good. And here we go. Alrighty. Look at that. Not bad at all. So all this wiggling and a little bit of straightening, it makes it so that it actually gets, it retains its shape a lot better. And once we've got it to the place where we really want it, I think we're almost there. We'll put 632 screw in one side, and the nut will fit into, I think you can see that it's made to fit a nut. There we go. And we get that in there. Fits in nicely. I'm notorious for doing things by hand. There we go. One on. And right. So make sure it's where you want it. Make sure it's straight. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned, in the kits that I do, I make all of these, you don't put this too tight. The kits that I do, I make all of these things, all of the pieces that look white are actually glow in the dark. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's a subtle, the 3D printed stuff is subtle glow in the dark, but it looks good. All right. Almost done. Last thing, but not least. Ooh, like that. How does this fit with the chin strap? Now the instructions to make a chin strap are included in the, there's a previous Thingiverse file, the whole ProTech thing. I made mine out of leather. I know the originals were probably some kind of vinyl, but I found that the leather was a lot easier to work with, and it looks really good too. And it instantly changes your personality. Instantly. It's wonderful. So when you're taking a look at the ProTech one, what you want to do is make sure that the thick side is facing out, and you're going to start by putting the strap through here. And in the second one, and if the second hole is too tight, just ream it out with a knife. It'll be fine. And then there's a third hole, it's like a T-hole. The idea behind that is it's just like a retainer for it. I like to hold this back a little bit so I can stretch it to put it in. So I stretch and I jam it in. And as I'm pulling, there we go. It goes in. And now you've got something that's super tight. So there's one. And there's another one. Alright. So the other one. Okay, we know this is ProTech. It looks right. Strap up. We want this facing out, and we want the T facing up. The T is this little mark here. And we want to come, whoops, not we want to come that way. We want to come back this way so that we're not covering the hole. And let's see, this one, oh boy, that hole's pretty small. Let's just take a knife, and we're going to take a little bit of it out. Not the part with the teeth, but the other side. Just a little bit of it. You might have to take more than a little bit. It's pretty tough to get in there. Oh, come on. There we go. There. Alright, so that's through. Back to get it into the T, stretch, Okay. Stretch those wings maybe to get it in there. And it's not wanting to get in. So I had to put it down on the desk and that didn't work anyway. So try this again. There we go. Up in. And don't pull up, you'll break it. Pull straight sideways. There we are. So we should have the thick parts facing out on both. Ta-da! I do find it doesn't, like it should be fairly close, so you might have to tighten it up a little bit when you're putting it on the helmet to make it fit you, depending on the size of your noggin. I mean, my noggin isn't that big. Right? Not up a bit. I think I've done that from the beginning. There we go. So, now, let's get this on the helmet. So the Vinz ears that we have put on 2 of these, this should just click onto. And it's not easy to put them on. It really, oh, okay, that was easy to put it on. I've had them before. And the nice part about it is it's articulated. So when you're wearing it, it's a lot more comfortable that way. So make sure you got it right, that the strap is, I should have made sure it was the right weight, shouldn't I? And I did. So now you get to witness me taking this off. And the other, oh, it's not that bad. So this one goes on the other side. Alright, let's put it on the other side. Machine will click in, and put it this side. With the house will click in. Now does that look right? Let's check it out. There we are. Okay. And there it is. Oh, and there it was done. Yes, have some.